and I unreservedly apologize for it. We unanimously agreed that each state of the Federation be sampled. No sign of any abnormality so far has been detected in any center outside the ones mentioned. So I appeal to the candidates and those affected by the error of our system to accept the explanation I've given as the truth on this matter. I apologize and take full responsibility, not just in words. I want to say a big thank you to all of you, and may God bless us all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
This was quite commendable by the JAMB registrar, owning responsibility to this sort of, I would call it tragedy, because a 19-year-old girl died, Temileng, I believe her name is, like you said, Dr. Abati. And, you know, JAMB has said that they will conduct a rescheduled UTME for all affected candidates starting Friday, May 16th, and the candidates will be notified via SMS and email and phone calls. But Nigerians have reacted. Let me take this Kalu Aja's tweet. He wrote, "My thoughts are with Nigeria's children who face mental trauma from their nation for wanting to sit for an exam. The JAMB exam is pivotal for every Nigerian child, determining higher education and future opportunities. Students spend a year preparing with extra classes, coaching, and pressure from parents, schools, and peers. Imagine the emotional roller coaster they've endured. Anxiety before the exam, stress during the exam, shame for failing, depression. Now, what do they feel? Relief? If Nigeria were more organized, these children would receive psychological evaluations before being asked to rewrite an exam. They were told they failed due to no fault of theirs. We have scarred these children and the nation. If a child fails to resist, they will accept the result. Will parents not claim the entire process is now fruits of a poisonous tree? These kids need strong counseling. I pray parents, teachers, guardians, and state governments provide this emotional support. Children are too young for Nigeria to happen to them. And, you know, I think Kalu Aja's tweet is quite apt, especially, you know, about the emotional support that these children that have to rewrite this exam may feel after they were told that they failed. Yesterday on What's Trending, we played those videos of those young girls, and we had a conversation actually after the show about students who say, listen, I know what I wrote in my exam. I know I did not fail. And I told you guys yesterday that this is what I tell my children. I ask them, did you pass? And when they tell me I'm not sure, I say, then you failed, because you don't know what you wrote. But if you're sure and you're confident in what you have written, then you know that you really deserve the credit that you got. Let me take another tweet, which, you know, a lot of people have talked about. This is from Idan, who wrote, so it's possible they tampered with this girl's result from the back end. JAMB has proven time and again that it can't be trusted with something as critical as an exam that determines the future of thousands. A child has already taken their own life because of this. And that's the picture of, I believe, Mesoma, the young girl who, I believe last year was, you know, she had said that JAMB had tampered with her result and that there was a finding, and then they said that, you know, it wasn't JAMB, that she had cheated. And these are the sort of conversations Nigerians are asking, hey, what's really happening? Why did this happen? But it's good that JAMB has accepted responsibility. We hope that the federal government find a way to, you know, provide some sort of counseling for our young children, for them to be able to take the next step of their life with confidence. Vimbai.
You know, earlier when we touched on this topic, I gave a bit of the historical antecedent,
Yes.
which is why, because some people might wonder, well, why is this such an emotional issue?
It is.
It's because there's a historic legacy around it, where we've seen, I read some newspaper front pages from the past, 1993, where they were reporting that what is the future of JAM? There's too much controversy. Should in that particular article in 1993, they were saying, should it be scrapped in totality? In 1998, when JAM was celebrating 20 years, they were saying after 20 years, does JAM deserve a pass mark for the work that they have done? And it's the same story over and over again. I just opened another one now from 1997. PM News front page, JAM announced 95,000 results. Lagos candidates most affected. So there's a systemic thing, recurring issues that we're seeing, which shows you that, yes, as much as this one is a technical glitch, it shows you that there's also a cultural issue within the organization
Yes.
that needs to be looked at. Now, why are we highlighting Professor Oloyede? Because Professor Oloyede is one of those few people who've been bold enough to actually come and face it and confront it head on and say, we have made a mistake. There is a challenge, there's an issue. So I hope that this can be a turning point in this organization. Now, for those students, oh my goodness, if you see how students around the world feel when it's time for GCSEs, O-levels, A-levels, it is a time of high stress and anxiety because this is a rite of passage into adulthood. We know the situation in Nigeria and how difficult it is already to get a job, even with the degree, with the certificate, with the qualification, even with that. And now you say, just to get the admission into the university is a struggle as well. So I think that definitely we need more support structures for our students, not just as a means of damage control because something has happened, but generally, how supportive are we? Because even if you look at the actual quality of education itself, there's some issues that need to be addressed there. Now there are issues of mental health surrounding especially exam periods and so forth. Those are issues that we really need to look at holistically when we are looking at education and issues surrounding education. Very lastly, Minister of Education had made a statement saying that this was a sign of some corrections that they had made to address exam malpractice. And I wish he maybe hadn't rushed to make that statement because it's now clear that there really was an error.
Dr. Abbott, I believe you want to say
Okay,
something.
this point about systemic failure, should be backed by appropriate context. Yes, there were problems in JAM, but in the past, all these 1997 articles, 1996 articles, those were issues in the past. When Professor Oloyede took over in 2016, he took over from Professor Dibu Ojerinde. One of the things he has been praised for is the reforms that he has been able to initiate in the place in terms of, staffing, in terms of computer-based test systems, in terms of revenue generation, in terms of transparency and accountability. So it would be incorrect to use articles from 1997 to assess the JAM of today. The second point, which Professor Oloyede himself made, is that, look, man proposes, God disposes. But in this case, the big tragedy is that a life was lost.
Yes.
The remedy that is now being applied will not apply to Timileyin Okweshusi, who committed suicide. Now, what exactly happened is the deployment of what they call a software patch, which they now discover that some of the service providers could not apply properly. Which means that if you wrote an exam, you answered 100 questions in a particular subject. Because of the wrong deployment of that software patch, you may be assessed only for 25 or 50 questions. And then the remaining 50 questions will not be uploaded. And that is why I think the challenge for JAM is to realize that technology is not perfect. And that, it's a trial and error process until you perfect it. Usually before any exam, there is mock examination where all these things are tested. Still, it failed. That means that's an area, as Professor Oloyede continues with his reform, that he has to look at. Now, opportunities have now been given for remedial exam. The reason they have to do it within this available window very quickly is because WAEC is also running exams. Some of these students who are going to write this exam, they also have WAEC exams. After WAEC exam, there is NECO. Universities are going to, go back. There will be resumption in September. So there's
when those PDP senators are defected to, I think, led by the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly. And apparently, I don't think you were happy when you hear people say, it was Adams Oshiomhole that said, as soon as you join the APC, your sins are forgiven. And I listened to what you said and the remarks you made in reference to the context why you said what you said then. So let's give total closure to Nigerians who may not have heard exactly the context of what you said, so that perhaps people that are referencing it, not knowing the context, will be able to understand why you said what you said, sir.
Geoffrey, God bless you so much. In anything I do, I take it seriously, but sometimes I realize that you have to have some humor, to warm up an environment. I was national chairman, and President Buhari came to Benin to flag off presidential campaign. And as usual, several PDP stalwarts came to join the APC. And one of them is called Ilwobe. I come from Edo State, I come from Edo North. The language of Edo and Edo North is more or less the same, even in Edo South. Ilwobe means I don't do bad. And I just jokingly said to the young boys, okay, now you have been in a party of bad people deceiving people. Now I'm happy now that you have left them to come and join APC. Then you will live up to your father's name, which is Ilwobe. You will no longer do bad. Because obey means evil in our language. I will not do it means I will not do evil. So now you will live as a progressive. This has nothing to do whatsoever with corruption. This guy was not even he was not a public officer, whether at the state level or federal level. He wasn't known to me even as a contractor. So how people could whip this, and why it hurt me, I had to speak about it that day, is that those journalists who paraded, they know better. Because I challenged them to play that tape. They have the tape. Because this was an event covered live. For not a secret outing. So let them play it back and say, fact check. This is what Oshiomhole said. But they just choose to continue to use it. I was particularly shocked that an otherwise a very senior editor who asked someone like the immediate past governor of Delta State, Okowa, did you, in a very mischievous manner, with due respect to him, somebody said I should ask you, did you get permission from Oshiomhole that your sin will now be forgiven before you now decide to decamp to APC? And I think the guy didn't quite understand that the question was informed by just mischief. And the man tried to answer. I said, no, he has not met me for a long time, which is true. And he worked with Obaseki against me, which is also true. But when we met on stage that day, I said, my brother, having been a governor and I was a governor, we are friends. So, but we'll be put aside by different party divides. So now we are back together, hopefully for never to part no more. So how can anybody do that? And I believe that this is just the art of mischief makers. They prefer to take the negative side. Now, how can you ask, what is my status? Like you rightly said, I am now in the legislature. Is the legislature responsible for prosecution of anybody involved in the wrongdoing? And what will be the wrongdoing? And so it was just mischief. So I had to remind those people that one of them, who's the man who made that statement, he himself was invited by EFCC after he had abused Jonathan as much as he could. Jonathan brought him on board to become his spokesman, and he became his spokesman, in my view, shamelessly. You don't condemn Padediam, I end up consuming it all over. And thereafter, EFCC arrested him too. And I said, was I the one who granted him bail to leave PDP now to become where he is? Because I noticed that consistently, even on Labour Day, he was saying, some Labour leaders who have been involved in picketing, they fought for workers. He couldn't even credit me with that fact that I led protest. This is the guy who wrote Oshiomhole, the people's president, when I was president of the NSC. Rather than credit me with that, they say, when they leave NSC, they now go and become governors, then they become senators. I say, if you are angry because you wanted to be deputy governor and you lost the election in Ogun State, Is that the reason you be so paranoid
The thing is, if
that
I
every
may come in.
opportunity you want to abuse me? You want to abuse me?
Line. The answer is no. If you watch the people even that has produced the president in this country, talking about the North, Katsina as a state has produced two military head of state and one president. Two persons occupying that the position of the president. Yet, if you go to Katsina today, you will see poverty rearing its ugly head. You will see people begging on the street, children. So what am I trying to say? It is not our problem. I think this particular energy they are wasting in trying to bring up the bill should have just helped them. They should have channeled that energy in our electoral laws. The electoral laws, because the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court in 2023 general election has raised some issues that will give the National Assembly the clue on how to amend our electoral law so that we get it right in 2027. So if you are telling Nigeria that Nigeria knows who is competent, whether you are from the North, if you watch 2023 election, what happened? P2B received the necessary support from the North, from everywhere. Nobody is talking about, because they know that Nigeria knows that if you are competent, you are competent. So that one, I think that bill is misapplication of a priority as far as I'm concerned. They should channel their energy in amending the electoral laws. When we get it right, Nigeria knows who is competent, whether you are from the West, North, East, and South. That is my take.
Well, it is quite a succinct take. Thank you so much for that angle. But let's talk a little bit about the Constitution here and how that the rejection of this. What is the legal interpretation of Section 14 of the Constitution regarding the federal character principle? How does the rejection of this, how does it affect or interpret that section?
Yes, I think we don't need all those laws for us to get it right. As I'm talking to you now, I'm in court with the president and the federal character. I joined all of them in Federal High Court. So what is my decision? Lopsided appointment. You are not taking the cognizance of Section 14. You are not taking it of the Constitution. You are also taking the cognizance of various sections of Federal Character Establishment Act, giving appointment, a situation whereby Buhari started it, President Buhari started it, where you are lot, you consider only the people that are from your own zone in making appointments. If you watch during that time, coming to the service chiefs, it's only people from the north, nobody from the southeast was there. Coming to this one, the same thing. So we are talking about the law that we have. Are you following it? What is the duty of the intention of establishing the Federal Character Establishment Act? It derives its own power from that Section 14 of the Constitution, who said that you should consider, if we are talking about other appointments, let us start from there. Let us start from there. In the judiciary, in the parliament, in the executive. Check it. Then also in our actions and inactions, you can watch what is also happening in the president exercising his own power, Attorney General exercising his own power. You can see how Showore matter was discontinued. You can see how that of Igbo, they handle it. You can see how the president of Mieti Allah, how they handle it. Coming to that of Nnamdi Kanu, everybody was interested. So now the point I'm trying to make is that particular law will not help matters, because we have enough laws that if you want to apply it religiously, you apply it. What is the National Assembly saying about the president flagrantly abusing the provisions of a Federal Character Establishment Act, not following it up in his appointment? Look at the Board of Health, the Board of Health they appointed. Nobody from the Southeast. I challenged it. As I'm talking to you now, we have how many commissioners for police sent across the systems of the Federation, including FCT? How many persons from the Southeast is there? So these are the issues. When you are not talking about you want to bring the bill so that it will cause trouble, they will not follow it. People will not follow it. People will ask you to go to court. They will violate it and ask you to go to court. So our problem is not the law. Our problem in Nigeria is implementation of the law religiously. That is my take.
Now, what about the bill seeking to limit INEC's power to register new political parties? What are the potential implications for Nigeria's multi-party system?
Well, you see, the National Assembly, of course, you can bear with me that the set of characters the politicians will have, they're only interested in what will favor them. Any bill that you see that they are pursuing, watch, there is a negative intention, selfish intention they want to achieve. What are you going to talk about? What you're interested is to remove the power of supervising and registration of a political party from INEC so that you have it. Are you seeing the kind of National Assembly we have? What does that? What is our benefit? The law that will benefit us, that has to do with the electoral law itself, strengthening it. You are not talking about anything about it. You witness what happened in 2023 election, where the INEC promised us that they are going to transmit record from electronically from the booth, and made some people left to UK, left Europe, come to Nigeria here to come and vote. At the end of the day, the reverse becomes the case. What are you doing to strengthen the law? So that particular bill, I think they should give it a decent burial it deserves. They should not, because it is a distraction. These are the people that they want to just show Nigeria that as if they are working, while they are not working. There are some fundamental laws that will better us, better our life. I can go on and on and on to mention them. Obsolete laws that a National Assembly is expected to look into. Now they are now talking something that will, all the whole thing they are talking about, electoral laws, registration of political party, all this is towards 2027. So to me, it is a distraction. It's uncalled for. INEC, they should allow the supervision of political party, regulation of political party within the ambit of INEC.
What are some of the more pressing legal reforms, in your opinion, that you think should be concentrated on in terms of strengthening Nigeria's electoral process and also, promoting political stability in these times?
Well, there are, if it's because of time will not permit me. I have a lot of them here. If you watch Section 65, Section 105, Section 131, Section 66, all those particular laws, especially the one that, because, my dear sister, listen, let me tell you, if the electoral law is not amended, where the law will mandate INEC to any result that is not transmitted from the polling booth to electronically, that particular result will not count. If INEC did not amend this law, take it or you leave it. Nobody, including Maxwell Opera, will come out to waste their time in 2027 that is coming to vote. That is just a simple truth. So INEC should look at all those laws to make it mandatory so that as you vote, they will count it there. The issue of going to collection center, the thing that the 2010 Electoral Act tried to correct, that is what we are now seeing. Let them amend those laws. These are the laws that will help to strengthen our electoral laws, not INEC zoning presidency to various regions. Okay, if you zone it to southeast, then when you come to southeast, the issue of who is going to bring the distance, is it from Enugu or from Anambra? You start having another issue of microzoning. So let them concentrate. If they want to help us, if they want to strengthen our electoral system, if they want to strengthen our electoral, to encourage people to come out to vote, let them amend our laws. All those sections, the Constitution, if they are looking for people that will assist them, I can give them free pro bono services. There are some laws, there are some judgments Supreme Court and Court of Appeal gave them the way, showing them that these are the ones that are supposed to be in the electoral law, these are the ones that are not supposed to be in the electoral law, so that it will save us from this issue of INEC bringing out their own regulations, their own policy, which the court said that it is not compulsory that they must follow their policy. But if we have it statutory in their law, it will help us. So this issue of other particular things they are saying, it is a distraction. In fact, they are annoying Nigerians.
He disagreed and he left us. That's the only place we disagreed. I thank you for the fact that you spoiled a lot of my decisions as Governor Forum Chairman. Because yes, you are radical. You thought you were not as radical as we were. But we discussed Nigeria in detail, and we thought we should move forward as a country. I asked you this morning, what is going on currently now in Nigerian politics? Could it have happened when we were governor? The answer is no. And you said no. We will confront the government. We will confront the president. You know that. That's how radical we were. That's how our governor's forum was. That's how determined we were to change things. But I don't have to be forgetting that. I wish you the best. I will make my contribution to you privately as two radicals. I shall announce it. No, they will think I have money. God bless you.
All right, Rufai, I'm going to bring you into this conversation. Rotimi Amechi there. It was during the book launch of Sule Lamido, Being True to Myself. I believe that's the title of the book. And right there, he's talking about, him being radical and, the government of the day or the governors of the day are not challenging this current administration. A lot of Nigerians have said, is this really true? I mean, we know that the PDP governors have challenged President Tinubu's emergency rule at the Supreme Court at the moment. And some comments that I have seen, people are saying, Rotimi Amechi, you are one of the problems of Nigeria. Over to you.
I mean, a lot of people can say everything they want to say about Rotimi Amechi. Yes, he has his own faults. Please, I'm not going to deny that. But for him to say that governors today are not challenging, I don't think so. I know of Governor Dauda, for instance, was somebody that when I interviewed him, he said boldly that it was against state of emergency rule. I've interviewed many other governors that can't own up and criticize President Tinubu on state of emergency rule. But Governor Dauda said, I challenge it and that's why I'm going to court. And there are many other instances he has constantly challenged the status quo. But, for other governors out there that are constantly decamping and they say because they've decamped, they can't challenge the incumbents, the truth has to be said. See, Nigeria is for all of us. Nigeria is more than President Tinubu. The earlier we realize it, the better it is for all of us. The day we realize that you as a state governor at this point in time, if the presidents have done something wrong, it is for you to call a spade because you are doing it in the interest of the nation. If you don't do, the nation will not move forward and posterity will judge you. The better for all of us. What I expect some of these governors to do is that, apart from the fact, I know some of them, their hands are tied because of their aligning for 2027 when they're decamping, is to be able to ask due questions. Take, for instance, I've not seen as many governors also come out to challenge the president on this idea of going to London for a press conference to show the achievements of President Tinubu. The question is it the achievement of hunger and poverty and the killing of our valiant soldiers by this faceless terrorist group is going to show in London? Why do you need to go to London? You have ministerial briefings every time there. Is that not a show of achievement alone?
All right, Rufai, I mean, you have just made the point there. And, it takes me to my next story, which you have just mentioned now. Meanwhile, top government officials, including the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, are heading to London to unveil the achievements of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration at an international press conference, eliciting a wave of reactions. The event, which is scheduled for Friday, June 27th, will serve as a platform for ministers and agency heads to highlight key accomplishments over the past 2 years. Well, let's take some reactions. This is from Ben, who wrote, "They leave Nigeria to contribute to the already thriving 5th largest economy in the world, yet just last week they were preaching Nigeria first. It's clear they are completely out of touch. I suppose next, Keir Starmer will relocate his entire team to Abuja because clearly they have no real concern for the country they claim to lead." Well, Chigozie wrote, "Tinubu's ministers flying to London to showcase achievements is peak hypocrisy. If your work truly speaks, why run abroad to seek validation? Nigerians are hungry, angry, and broke. Fix that first. This regime spends more on image than impact." Dr. Abati, over to you.
Okay, first, let me deal with the statement by Governor Rotimi Amechi, because I was in government during the period that he was talking about and, as a witness to history. Now, he's saying that they were very radical during their time.
Yes.
And Governor Sule Lamido, as he then was also very radical, and they were always challenging the Jonathan administration. This should be put in context. What I recall was that at that time, with Governor Rotimi Amaechi, as he then was, as chairman of the Governors Forum. He was leading the rebellion against the federal government for the sharing of the excess crude account. Excess crude account was, saving money for the rainy day. And Dr. Konje-Iweala was coordinating minister of the economy at that time. The first rebellion that he led was to say, look, this process should be for the federation account. Just let us share the money. I think they succeeded at the end of the day. So the radicalism is that of governors confronting the president of Nigeria. Of course, when he wanted to get a second term as governor of chairman of the Governors Forum, of course, the presidency did not support Governor Amaechi because he had over-radicalized the Governors Forum against the federal government. Now, maybe that's what he's talking about opposing, challenging the authority of the president of Nigeria. Now, another incident that I recall is that, look, that second term, I think there was division, 16 to 19 or so, with Governor Jang leading one faction, with Governor Amaechi leading another faction at that time. In other words, due to differences on what should be done with funds, there was, of course, a disagreement between the presidency and the governors. As for Governor Sule Lamido, as he then was, the confrontation that Governor Amaechi, as he then was, may well be talking about, was that during the Jonathan presidency, one of Governor Alhaji Sule Lamido's sons was arrested at the airport for not declaring the forex exchange that was on him. I think it was about $50,000, whereas you are not allowed to carry more than $10,000. Now, Governor Lamido then, felt that this was embarrassing, that the son of the governor should not be treated in this manner. Of course, till that government came to the end, he was not on good terms, more or less, with President Jonathan. So these things must be put in context. Now, radicalism that requires governors to be confronting the federal government, is that what is being recommended? The second thing is that, apart from the president, it's not the president alone that constitutes this democracy. What of the governors and their own responsibilities? All these governors that are serving under President Tinubu now, okay, even if they say they have moral right to confront the president, how responsible are they themselves? Many of these governors should be challenged on a daily basis by the House of Assembly. So that's that about that. But I've congratulated Alhaji Sule Lamido on the publication of his autobiography. I've read out his profile. He's an accomplished politician. There's no doubt about that. But to say attacking the president is a virtue, has to be properly contextualized. Now, on the issue of going to London, roadshow, where it looks like a jamboree. Yeah. When you look at all the persons involved, they are going with the Minister of Interior, they are going with Minister of the FCT, they are going with NUPRC CEO, the CEO of the Mortgage Bank, the Federal all of that. It's like they are all leaving town. Okay, the contest. At the same time. The contest is that this is midterm of President Tinubu. By May 29, there will be celebrations up and down. But the crowd that is going to London, all those people will go with assistants. So the explanation they can give is that, they want to go and explain to Nigerians in the UK. Well, of course, we have, a large Nigerian community, including, present company, but
Adefemi Akinsoya.
they know you're an American.
She's British,
she's
right?
British
yes.
Nigerian.
Yeah.
So maybe to explain and engage Nigerians in London, where every little thing somebody will go and protest. Every little thing there will be a street protest. But the size, the scale, and the timing of it, and the design of this, what appears to be a jamboree, is what we question.
Absolutely. I mean, Dr. Bati, speaking about, officials going to London and the street protests, which you are absolutely right, because on Monday, dozens of Nigerians under the Rescue Nigeria Now movement staged a protest outside the Nigerian High Commission and the UK Home Office. The protesters were demanding the deportation of former NNPCL boss Mele Kyari, accusing him of fleeing Nigeria to evade EFCC persecution over alleged multi-billion-dollar corruption. The protesters carried placards with inscriptions that read, "London is not for public officials who abuse public trust," chanting, "Kyari must go." The group submitted petitions to both Nigerian and UK authorities alleging that Kyari mismanaged refinery funds and ran a shady fuel subsidy regime while Nigerians faced fuel shortages. I know we have those images. There they are, the images of the Nigerians outside there protesting at the UK High Commission. Although it is unconfirmed if Kyari is in London at the moment, but this is what Nigerians are doing at this point, telling our officials, listen, don't come here to hide. Don't come here to hide our money. Don't come here and, evade arrest. We will call you out. I'd like your thoughts on both stories. Nigerians the ministers, officials going abroad to showcase their achievements to the people of London, and of course, the story I just read.
Okay, well, Nigerians are angry.
Yes.
And when you bring up NNPC, it's an emotional topic for a lot of people because of the amount of money that has gone through that institution without commensurate development or dividends to the people. The recent report from the World Bank, which says that, okay, when subsidy was removed, not all of it was it wasn't even being paid into the Federation account. Only recently 50% started being paid and so forth. Because NNPCL itself has arrears, it has commitments, there's so much happening there. So they've called for a forensic audit. The question is, this audit, when is it going to happen? Because Mele Kyari himself has said that whenever they call me, I will answer. I will answer for my tenure. So what needs to happen is this: the current leadership, the new sheriffs in town of NNPC, need to hit the ground running where the forensic audit is concerned, because people want answers. People want to know what really happened. Does it need to be handed over to the EFCC? Whoever needs to be handed over to the relevant organization. Heads must roll, and somebody must be accountable, because we know that the rot was there. And of course, Mele Kyari, as the figurehead, is the person that people will target their anger towards. So I hope that this investigation can happen very quickly. Now, to the jamboree, as Dr. Abati called it, in London, I have two ways of looking at this. I have two perspectives. The first perspective is that when an economy is doing well, your citizens will be the first people to be your ambassadors. Even those in the diaspora will be the first to tell people around them that our country is doing well. So when you're traveling around, yes, of course, diplomatic engagement is important, even for economic engagement to attract investors and so forth. But it reads damage control is what it sounds like and it looks like. So when I read one of the statements, they were saying that they want to counter some of the negative narratives, the demarketing that has been done out there. Is this the way to do it, or is the solution to hit the ground running and correct those things, and so that you don't give people an opportunity to do what you're calling demarketing? On the other side of it, very quickly, I'll talk as quickly as possible. On the other side of it, I listened to a story the other day from Zimbabwe, actually, where a delegation went to Japan. And they said that they struggled when it came to engaging the Japanese businesses. Why? Because most of the investors there thought that Zimbabwe still had the condition of hyperinflation that it became known for. So they were saying that, yes, sometimes when we go around the world and we talk about our country's problems, we don't realize that, yes, there is a stigma that is created that some who are too lazy to do their research are unable to overcome when trying to engage in business. So in doing so, it's a catch-22 for me. But this engagement could have been done very easily virtually
Yes.
from here,
Absolutely.
any part of Nigeria,
And
and the message still would have hit home, not just to UK, but to the whole world.
Absolutely, and I agree with you.
And ambassadors, they'd be able to do that too, isn't
Right.
it? And we still don't have
I love
leadership.
that point that you made, virtually, and which is what a lot of Nigerians were asking. Couldn't they do this virtually? Like you said, it's a complete jamboree. We're exporting our money out there. What is the purpose of showing off what? I mean, they just unveiled the Nigeria First policy. Well, I hope that, the administration will listen or take a look at what we are talking about here. If there's a way they can change this whole jamboree, it's in June. I believe it's happening in the immigration system. Also proposed phasing out overseas recruitment for social care jobs by 2028. Well, in the meantime, this is all coming after Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch urged Starmer to adopt a bill that will deport all foreign criminals. The bill also includes mandatory age checks and tougher visa rules and aims to make asylum support repayable. Well, let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
We've introduced a deportation bill because we're committed to bringing immigration down. Back in February, we demanded Labour triple the time for new immigrants to get a British passport. They voted it down. And now they've brought in some half-assed version that's not going to work. Here's what will work. Deport all foreign criminals. Mandatory age checks. No more pretending to be kids. Tougher visa rules and salary thresholds. Disapply the Human Rights Act to immigration cases. No more abusing human rights laws to dodge deportations. Make asylum support repayable, and no permanent right to stay in the UK if you've relied on benefits. Until that's law, we won't fix this. Labour should adopt it now. It's time to get tough. That's what the Conservatives' deportation bill delivers, and we're going to go further. Our country is a home, not a hotel, and if we don't defend it, no one else will.
All right. I'm coming to you, our international correspondent, on this topic. Absolutely. I wanted to go to Rufai, but we are still waiting for connection with Rufai. But, since you are British and you know these stories, in fact, I'd like for you to tie in both stories because we wanted to take Kemi Badenoch, making this whole immigration issue her brand. And she talked about the fact that by this year, 2 million migrants will become British citizens. And she's not really happy with that.
Well,
not happy at all.
First and foremost, that's not a bad thing if people are legally becoming citizens. I think that's the whole point.
Yes.
That you want legal migration, you want people with talent to come into the country and receive citizenship off the back of it. It is unfortunate that Kemi herself, as you've said, has made this her personal brand because she is a person who has benefited personally from being able to be an immigrant, from having these opportunities. And it is unfortunate, we do see this a lot, that people come into the country, are able to reap the benefits of the United Kingdom and then close the door behind them. That is unfortunate. It is being a gatekeeper and it is very sad. That being said, when it comes to the topic of foreign criminals being deported, that's actually not too far away from what actually is the state of affairs in the United Kingdom. If you are arrested, often you are asked to prove what your immigration status is. And if it is determined that you don't have a right to be in the country, you will be deported. So she's not saying something that's so really fantastic. Of substance.
Absolutely. Now we have Rufai Oseni. Your thoughts on Keir Starmer at this moment, reducing legal migration. And of course, Kemi Badenoch talking about deporting foreign criminals and, reducing this sort of immigrants coming into the United Kingdom. Your thoughts?
Oji, the truth is painful, but I love to say it. This is a reflection of how Nigeria has gone down the drain. The fact that the British are trying to reduce the number of students that will come in and Nigerians are unhappy about it. This was the same Britain in the 70s that when Nigerian students go to school there, they come back to Nigeria. In fact, in the 70s, if you went to school abroad, they laughed at you because the quality and the standard of education here was a whole lot better. And I do not blame Kemi Badenoch because this was what she was voted for. If you go and look at the Tory hard rights, they are pro-immigration. And as immigration numbers keep going up, they don't want people to come to their country. So they will try as much as possible to siphon opportunities like social care and the likes just to be able to discourage people. The question is, when are we going to fix our country? In the 1970s, the dollar was less than the Naira. Today, it's 1,600. Orji, we are talking about educational system. Educational system is so bastardized today, and I think JAMB needs to also investigate, because those students who have a point as regards, there might probably be a technical glitch, we don't know. But in generality, educational system is so bastardized today because over the years, government has not invested in it. Education started getting bad after the Ali Must Go riot, when the same government started to defund education. And the truth is, our politicians can say the students are not reading. Are they incentivizing education for them? Look at the awards given to a child that does very well in school, and look at the award given to the winner of Big Brother. Do we look like a society that wants education to thrive? So I'm not surprised that we are having results like this, because we have not done a lot in the educational sector over the time. And it is very sad that the same political leaders today that enjoyed free education, that enjoyed scholarships, are the one prevailing over the destruction of the educational system in Nigeria. This is an indication for us to go back, buckle our belt, and do better. If Nigeria was working well, and that was the point I was making when I was saying we don't need to go to Jamboree to the UK and go and sell Nigeria. If Nigeria was working well, the same UK that a lot of Nigerians that when they go to school abroad are proud to come back home, is the same UK they are trying to stay back in today.
Right.
It's because things are not working well. And when we say it, people will start feeling bad. The truth is bitter. We'll say it to them. Until we look inwards and introspect and grow this nation with a lot of potential, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to keep revolving around these circles and having all of these stories. Orji, real quickly as I wrap up.
All right.
The federal government is trying to get life insurance for government officials at a time Nigerians are suffering. What is the welfare of our soldiers? It's constantly about themselves and these political people. We need to change the mindset. That's why Nigeria is not working today.
All right, Rufai, thank you very much, and I hope you have fun in Abidjan. I don't know if I'll see you